start off with a roll call of members.
Chairman Frank Roth,
Here.
George Weiner,
Here.
Ron Brun,
Here.
Nikki Ketting, here. Ed Luckrell, Jamie Bowman, here. Frank Myers,
Here.
Alderwoman Shauna Zerwig. Chairman, we have a quorum.
Great. All right, let's move on to the approval of the agenda for tonight's meeting.
So moved.
We have a motion?
second.
Do we have
I'll
a
second
second? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next is the approval of the minutes for the November 19th, 2012 meeting.
I noticed some issues
Okay?
on the back of page 1. I don't know if it was the first paragraph where it says discussion and review, or I guess second paragraph. It says the front facade of 305 when shouldn't it be 309?
Yes, you're correct.
And then, I guess in the third paragraph, I don't know if I didn't make myself clear, so this part, I don't know. But, the canopy would cover the entrance of 305. When I talked about the Art Deco design, I meant that it was, the glass was an appropriate design for 309, for the time period that that building was built. You know, and,
Oh, okay. So you were talking about two different buildings.
yeah. Because for the newer edition, it's right in line with the time period, which is attached to 305. So just to clear that up. And then I was wondering what we do to find out about the mural, like what can be done and all that kind of stuff. I just wanted to make that clear. Otherwise, it looks
Any other changes? Okay, is there a motion to approve with the changes that were described there?
I so move to approve the minutes as amended.
Great. Is there a second to that?
Second.
All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Who-
All right.
Who seconded that?
Frank Meyer.
Frank Myers. Okay, we'll move on to old business. We now want to move on to the presentation of the award to the winner of the Landmarks Commission logo contest. So is Teresa Lawson here? Can you come on up? We're going to thank you officially for doing that. We have a certificate for you here, announcing that you were the winner of the contest. Great. We have $50 in cash, which beats the check, saves you a
Yeah.
step. So here's
Yeah.
$50 in cash. And again, for those who haven't seen the logo, this is our final logo right here.
Looks very nice.
Thank you very much.
Hold that. I'm entirely out of my water here.
Let's take a break on that fake smile.
One more. Good? Great. Thank you very much. And you'll now be seeing that logo all over town, so
Yeah.
brace yourself.
See you later.
Okay, on to new business. The first action item we have is to replace the front porch and to construct fencing in the front yard of 260 North 4th Street, which is item number 12-1119E. So would the applicant please come forward and tell us a little about the project?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Roy Meyer. I apologize for not being in attendance in November. I was called away on a family emergency. I received a phone call after business hours and had no way to contact anybody. But
No
I do
problem.
want to thank all of you for moving forward with the demolition of the structure in the rear of the house. My insurance company canceled my insurance, and so I was kind of under the gun, so I thank you for doing that, so.
Sure.
I presented Brenda with some pictures of the house in its existing condition, and also pictures of what I'd like to look when it's finished. So if you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them.
My only comments were, in reviewing it, the intent is there, and I can understand perfectly why you want to do it.
Yes.
It will be an improvement. But my comment is, I think the photographs that we have are not of that house itself, and there are some relatively minor but substantial differences between what you presented, what is in those photographs and what you want to do. And what I would like to see is something a little more based on your particular house line, with the roof line the same, with the windows
Oh.
as they are in your house.
I see what you're talking about,
It's
yeah.
just, they're small differences. In general, I approve what you, I mean, I personally think what you're trying to do is right. But I'm not sure until I see it for that house. I mean, seeing the drawings that reflect the character of that particular house.
Well, that is a very true and correct statement. Those are two different homes,
Oh,
in
yeah.
fact, indeed. But they are both American folk homes.
Yes.
And the colored photo is what inspired me to purchase the home on 4th Street. And I do realize that the windows and the black and white photo are a little closer together, but I would think most any reasonable person could see that my intent is to put shutters on both sides of them, do a hipped roof, and the only other difference would be the door placement on the colored photograph is on the right side of the structure rather than the center. And also considering the fact that I'm working at a price point, I didn't feel the need to hire an architect to do an artistic rendering, because I know you people spend a lot of time and have a lot of understanding of people who are trying to maintain and protect our homes in the area. So you have more vision than the average individual would. So that's my comment.
Well, that was my comment. I think as you go along, you need to consider that. The other thing that I'd like to say is, boy, I compliment you on that house. It's going to be beautiful. The view you have out of the back of that thing is spectacular.
It's beautiful. I spend an awful lot of time cleaning up, and
Yeah.
I've got a lot of compliments, and I have people stop by every week asking to buy it, and I'd love to sell it, and I'm looking forward to completing it.
Yep.
Good deal.
So any other discussion? I'd like to say that you did a great job at 349 Washington Street. I watched you do that from day one. So, I know that's not on the docket, but obviously you've shown a great desire to do a great job of what you do, so that house looks really good.
Well, I've taken great interest in this community, and I understand I can only do it one house and one street at a time, and
Right.
this is my first appearance in front of your committee, so I will know in the future to try to attempt to be a little bit more exacting
Yeah.
in what my vision is.
You know what I think that his question is the amount of distance from, in this house, how high the peak is from the porch compared to on this house. If that porch is right there, you're not gonna have much of a peak. So, is that what the question, that's what I thought was the
Well,
proportion.
just in general,
Just
and I
my-
don't think we need a detailed architectural
No, oh,
drawing.
no, I don't think so
But I
either.
think
The
you
finish,
could probably sketch it out to scale and see how it looks once
Yeah.
it's sketched to scale.
And I don't even have any problem with it, I just think you might wanna think about that.
in the future, I will. This is a 12-12 pitch roof, and this
Yeah.
is an 8-12 pitch roof.
Yeah, when you put
But I
that,
think we all agree that removing the aluminum awnings and putting some shutters,
This is an
Yeah.
improvement, yeah.
And you propose to go all the way across the front of the house?
yes,
So you're gonna pour a new deck?
yes.
We'll need a list.
And I've already purchased Well, in fact, the bird feeder's sitting at 349 Washington right now, and I purchased the light fixture, so,
We'll need to know if you're gonna use wood or you're gonna use vinyl.
I must have got the cheap version.
I would prefer to use wood. In the historical district, I'm not a big fan of vinyl, but that's just my personal opinion.
Yeah.
If you ask me to do it in vinyl, I'll do it in vinyl, but I
No,
prefer
no,
wood.
no, no.
And I have a picket fence in front of my house, and I know what it's like to paint them. But I just like the character of it.
What do you intend for porch posts?
Just exactly what you see in the colored photograph. The turned wood spindle porch posts.
That's gonna be really stunning. It's gonna look really nice.
I have several real estate agents that are yearning to list the home, but I don't think I'll need their aid in
Yeah.
doing so.
Wait till you finish and then you can up the price.
You know, the price isn't really what's driving me. It's just my love for the community and fixing up homes.
We love to have you here doing that.
Well,
That's
thank you.
great. That's great. I move that we approve this as submitted.
Is there a second? We have a second from you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No, that's an aye.
He's an aye.
That's
Okay.
a- Yeah.
Aye, unanimously aye. And we really appreciate everything you're doing in the community. You're doing a great job, and
Thank you.
really like that.
Well, thank you for your time.
All right, thanks for
Have a
being
good
here.
evening.
Okay, our next item is item number 12-1217A, and that's to construct an addition on the back of the structure located at 205 Washington, which is the old blacksmith shop. So could the applicant please come up and tell us about that project?
Yes, William Hoffman. I've been here before over this same project, and I got kind of a somewhat of an approval, but I had to go ahead and get architectural drawings for it. And it took me a while. I guess it's been about 5 months since the last time I was here. My architect moved from St. Louis to Lexington, Kentucky, and got married also, so it kind of slowed him up. Finally got him now about a month and a half ago, and submitted them to Brenda.
Is the new addition going to just fill in that space in the back where the L is on and extends farther back?
It's actually not a new addition, it's just replacing what was there. What was there was just, I mean, you couldn't use any of it. It was just, everything was just completely deteriorating. Should have been torn down 30 or 40 years ago.
Yeah, it's such an intriguing building, and already what you've done to it is makes it really even more interesting.
And I want to restore it the way it was, but the architect is the one that advised me to carry the roof line all the way back to the rear wall rather than stop it about halfway back and go down and do the rest of the roof the way it was. There's no way I was going to be able to do that and keep it from leaking out. I don't really understand his reasoning on that, but it did leak before, so.
Yeah.
I mean, it practically ruined a couple really nice old cars in there because of the leaking. Really, that's the only change is continuing that roof line on back, and I think everybody kind of agreed with doing that the last time I was here.
Yeah.
The siding, there won't be very much of the original siding used. Wasn't much of it salvageable, but I'm gonna use cedar, new cedar siding to go along with that, finish it up. And
Does the interior have a concrete floor in the already existing? No?
dirt. Yeah, it's, I'm gonna pour concrete floor throughout, the two-story part that's there now. And part that I'm gonna redo. And the old wagon factory, the one-story part on the west side, it's got a concrete floor in it already.
That's a newer section, isn't it? That was.
Yeah, I think it was probably built around 1900. My guess. It's kind of, just
So
by
it's the
looking
new
the way
part.
things were built, you can
Yeah.
see what was built before the other
Yeah,
part, and it looks to me like it was probably one of the last things built on there, probably the last thing, so I'm assuming probably around 1900. And the windows, they weren't salvageable either. I think there was only two of them, I think, in the building. But Dad had a pretty good supply of old windows that he collected over the years, that probably is older than the ones that were in there. And I'll be using those,
oh, that's great,
those historic glass.
yeah.
Okay, is there any further discussion of his plan?
I would make a motion that we approve the project as submitted.
All right, we have a motion, is there a second?
I'm second, well, he's
Yeah,
fast.
Jan,
He's
second.
fast.
All right,
Yeah.
all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any
Yeah.
opposed?
No,
Then the motion carries, and we really appreciate you being
though
here.
I'd love to see this when it's finished.
I will tell.
I just want to compliment you on that building and the other one that you've done.
Yeah,
Oh,
It has made a significant improvement in the community, it really has.
absolutely.
I'm really happy with
It's
it.
an example of buildings are rarely too far gone to be able to salvage them. Sometimes you'll wonder when you look at
Yeah.
your pocketbook at the end of it, but
Actually, working on the inside of it now scared me more than working on the outside. I mean, when you see really close up on the inside, after you get all the plaster labs torn out, tore those all out, and I put insulation in the wall and putting the labs back on, and you see things in there you didn't see when you was stripping the siding off and all that, you just don't see that stuff. And sometimes I kind of shake my head a little bit, think, ooh. But right now, I'm laying a brick floor down there, replacing a brick floor that was in there, and that's a challenge too.
Oh, wow. Well,
What's that?
congratulations
What's the
on.
other building?
Yeah. The Raddick House on, right past the Presbyterian Church, go underneath the train.
the
station.
one that
Oh,
used to be
gotcha.
surrounded by vehicles.
Carcass.
It looks like a park now, it
Yeah,
is.
You'd be
yeah.
surprised how many people come down there and talk to me about the house and tell me that they really miss the cars and wish it wouldn't have had them moved.
Yeah.
Well, they were somewhat of
They
a
were quite
community
a,
asset,
yeah,
really.
yeah. You know, and the flood of '93 killed off all that vegetation, so you could really see what was, back in the back of it. It was really interesting down there. And I'm not even a car person, but that was fascinating.
It was their time to go. A lot of those on the lower end that had been in the floods several other times. Before we picked them up, they broke in half. That's how
Oh,
the
I
rest of the
bet.
frames were.
Yeah.
All right, well, thanks for being
Thank
here.
you.
Thanks,
Thanks so
Steve.
much.
Next on the docket is application number 12-1217B. It's a request to replace the siding, windows, and guttering fascia and soffits at 645 North 4th Street. Is the applicant here for that?
How you doing?
Fine, how are you?
Not too bad. I recently purchased that house down on 645. It was sitting 4th Street. It was sitting vacant for quite a while. It had some fire damage to it. Several of the windows are busted out, and some of them was even burnt out as the back door was gone. And I'd like to just remodel the whole house. The interior's pretty much gutted. It's just stud walls inside. There's no structural damage to the house from the fire. I would like to go maintenance free, like vinyl siding and vinyl windows.
Were any of the windows salvageable?
There's a few windows, yes, left in the house. I'm not sure how many. I know some of them had broken glass, and there's probably 2 or 3 totally missing.
The windows that were in it do not appear historical, though. Those look like aftermarket aluminum windows or something?
I'm not really sure. I think it was an older wood frame window of some type. But I brought a sample of a vinyl window tonight and some vinyl siding, and I would just like to wrap everything in aluminum, and I think Brenda said something about some doors, use like a metal door with a window in it. I mean, there's several houses right next to that home that kind of did the same thing. The house right now, as it sits, is in pretty rough shape. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
I
pretty
know, I
bad.
know, I drove by it, so
Yeah,
I've seen it,
yeah.
for sure.
There's a old foundation in the backyard, and there's all kind of brush back there, and I mean, it's in pretty bad shape.
Right.
But structurally, the house is sound.
let's see, what comes first? Well, I think that it's very clear that there's damage to that asbestos siding, that something's gonna have to be done about that. And maybe we can do this in stages, asbestos siding, and then
So-
talk about the windows, and then,
Will the asbestos siding have to be removed, or can I vinyl over it?
Recommended not to remove it.
yeah.
Not to remove it?
Yeah.
I don't want to remove it, to
Because
be
it's-
honest with you.
It's more dangerous to remove it than to.
Yeah.
To leave it in place, yeah,
I agree 100% with that.
yeah. I think you need special abatement to remove the asbestos, and if you've got a modern item like asbestos siding, then,
That
I don't know.
that is a question that's open to debate on
I knew that
whether
was.
it's better or not.
Mhm.
Uh, But there is an argument that by putting the vinyl over the asbestos, you're damaging the asbestos and encasing it so that any damage you do occur in fibers will
Ah.
generate into the house.
Oh, okay.
From a health
Yeah,
standpoint.
yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. That might be something you want to check out.
Okay. Yeah, I can try and come up with some information on it.
Probably not so much for us as for your own peace of mind, if,
Gotcha.
Well,
I mean, I know, like, when you drive a nail to repair those shingles, you drill a hole in it, and I mean, I don't know if it would be feasible to drill a hole every place I drive a nail to keep it from cracking and breaking up, or,
Yeah.
I don't know, I mean, it's something I can check into.
because you're probably talking, to most of us who grew up going to school in buildings that had asbestos ceilings and asbestos everywhere.
Yeah,
At least when I was a kid, that was the standard.
yeah.
I think you're on your own on that, though. Just seek your own counsel and choose
Yeah.
whatever you want to choose, which not really are.
That's
Okay.
not an issue for us. What do we think about the vinyl?
You know what I think
I
about
know.
vinyl.
I know.
Houses that are on the register, I don't think it's appropriate.
Yeah,
I very frankly like the staff work that has been done on this.
mhm.
I think the recommendations are very sound.
well, is a lot of the asbestos siding damaged? From the pictures, there's areas where it looks like it's damaged. I mean,
Yes, I mean,
Is
it's
it-
cracked up in some spots, and I think around the windows and the back door, I didn't bring any recent pictures, I think you guys might have some in front of you.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it definitely needs some work, and it's really,
Yeah.
really outdated. I mean, it looks rough. To put something else on it would make the house look a lot better.
Well, I do see, I mean, there's vinyl around that house.
Yeah.
Like crazy. And
Because also, I mean, I think he's a real pioneer to take a house that's in this condition,
Yeah.
in this market, and put in the money to bring that thing back to life. And heaven knows it needs it. I mean, it's
Yeah,
not
it's
winning any
rough.
awards as it
And
sits today.
It's been sitting there like that, I know for sure, a couple of years.
Yeah.
I think 2
Yeah.
years.
I don't think I have any trouble with vinyl siding.
Well, yeah, and like, why don't we see it? You
Yeah,
said
do
you
you
had
have-
some.
you have some?
Oh, yes. Yeah, I did bring some color samples, and I've been leaning towards this Savannah wicker. Here's the sample, and it would probably be this one. But I'm open to either, I mean, it's not.
So it's the J channel. It's the J channel that.
You want to see it?
Oh, I can see it.
Okay.
Seen it. Well, you understand our reluctance with vinyl siding, but at the same time, this is a special case because you've got a house.
I
that
understand
needs a
completely.
complete
Yeah.
overhaul.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's, the only thing good right now there is the structure. I mean, it really is, there's not one thing. The roof is salvageable too, it has a shingle roof on it. But, there's really nothing on the house that is
Right.
good. I mean, it needs new ductwork, it needs new furnace, wiring,
Yeah.
water heater,
Yeah.
I mean, it needs it all.
Well, I agree with, in generally with Frank about vinyl siding, but I think in this instance, I'd be willing to make a motion to approve the vinyl siding as submitted.
This is siding, windows, and all, you're saying
No,
just
I'm
siding or
I'm
saying?
just doing the vinyl siding.
we're doing
We're
one in
siding
stages.
first.
Yeah, we're doing
Okay,
it
so we're
straight.
saying vinyl siding, motion to
Yeah.
approve, is there a second? Second, anyone?
I'll second that.
There was a second, George?
So
All in
wait a
favor?
second, I have a question.
Go ahead.
So we're gonna leave the cement asbestos there and cover it with the vinyl siding?
Well, that's up to him. In other words, we don't want to tell him one way or the other, because then we would be theoretically liable if there's a problem. So we're gonna,
Oh, okay.
it's up to him to decide whatever he wants
Yeah,
to do.
you,
I understand that.
okay.
Okay.
Okay, so we have a second, so we have a motion to approve the vinyl on stage one, and we have a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, we register, we have one opposed. Frank Myers opposed. All right, now let's go to step two, which I guess is the
Wooden windows.
windows.
I don't have any problem at all with the windows that aren't there, putting whatever windows if he's got, vinyl siding, but I'd like to see, try and keep as many as you can.
Well, it makes it kind of tough to match the house and make
Yeah.
the house look, I mean, I don't know that any of us would want to live in a house that have different styles of windows in different areas.
Yeah, I agree. I
Yeah.
think you're gonna have to
Yeah.
go all or nothing on the windows.
I mean, I know I wouldn't want it for my own home, and if I'm trying to make a home feasible for somebody to buy,
Yeah.
How many windows are there? I mean, is it just the front ones?
Let's see, this,
I know there's probably 2 or 3 missing, and I think there was 11 windows in the house. And then I think a couple other actually have some broken glass.
I think those that are beyond repair, there's no question they'll have to be replaced. And in that particular thing, I have no one with vinyl in that particular house.
yeah.
if the vinyl windows will go in without you changing the frame of the house. Now, if you've gotta cut the frame out and
Like a
resize
header,
it,
like a header or something? No, I will not have to. I actually talked to,
if you can buy the vinyl.
To fit right in the
fit
existing home, yes.
frames, no
yes,
problem.
I talked to the lumber yard up there, and yes, they can order them to fit in the existing home.
I move to approve the windows,
Okay. Is there
the replacement of the windows.
Second.
We have a second from Jan. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, so the windows are good. Now we move on to the rear entry door.
I move to approve the rear entry door.
Hold on, give her a minute.
Second.
Yeah,
Okay, so we're already ahead of her writing
We're- yeah.
ability. Hold on.
yeah. Yeah, I think that's a done deal that
Do we have-
you know,
What's the third one?
The door.
The door?
replace the rear
Motion,
entry door.
Frank was second.
What kind of door?
It'll be a metal door, with a window in it. I don't, probably like a metal 6-panel door or something with a window in it. I tried to get a sample of it today and they didn't have anything available. But it's just basically an entry door, maintenance
Yeah.
free.
It's not a streetscape issue anyway.
No, it's
Okay,
in
so we have a
back.
motion, a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So
I want
rear-
to clarify, is this the front or the rear door you're talking about?
Rear.
The rear.
Okay. Then we have item 4, which is the repair replacement of fascia, soffits, and guttering.
Again, I feel like the repair and replacement of the fascia soffits and guttering need to be done when you're doing everything else. So, I move to approve it.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second from George. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
And I'm not sure of the shape of the front door, but was that gonna be an issue if I decide to pull it out later?
I think you just have to let us know.
Yeah. Just keep us informed.
Don't you?
Yeah, I don't see anything special about the front door on there unless someone's seen something that I'm not anyway, so.
Is it wooden?
Yes. And I was.
Is it 6-panel?
I don't believe.
You're gonna replace it with something
It's-
comparable? I mean,
Yes.
Okay. It
I
looks like
approve
it's got
that
some
if
kind
needed,
of
you may
glass
replace the
door in
front.
front or something.
Yeah.
Do we
Should
add-
we just, should we go
do
ahead
we
and
add
discuss the
anything
front
like
door?
that?
and-
Do we add anything like that and say, can we say
Yeah, it
that
does have a couple glass.
as needed,
Yeah.
or
But I
if
mean,
needed,
like all this,
they could replace the
wrap
front?
and
Yeah, I
aluminum
mean, just so we didn't mess up the project. You want us just to go ahead then and just discuss the front door? Or do something,
Yes.
do something
In
on the
case.
front door?
Yeah.
Is there?
I mean, because I don't know for sure, I haven't really looked at it that close, but I think it's in fairly rough shape.
Well, I
Just
know-
like everything else in the house.
I know who lived there, and I remember them talking about
There's a lot to be
everything.
said for spending the little bit it takes to repair an old door versus buying a new
Yeah.
one.
I understand.
Some fairly good quality doors that are sold sometimes go out now in just a few
I mean,
years.
I will definitely look at it and see if it's, something I guess I can,
Aren't you in the construction business?
yes. I've been in construction probably for 20 years now. But, I mean, I'll look at it and see if it's something I can repair or if it's,
Okay, was there a motion on the front door?
Well, I mean, I feel comfortable that he'd try to repair it. I mean, I know what he does.
Okay.
So the motion is he would try and repair the front door, barring that, buy a comparable new door to replace that door. Is that the motion?
Yes,
Is there a second?
I'll second.
George will second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Then that completes the whole project, correct?
okay. And then, when I go to start on the inside, I guess I'll just come back with some.
Well, we
more.
don't cover
We
anything
don't-
with your inside. You can put in funky
It's all
shag
yours.
carpet and paint it purple. We don't cover that at
So
all.
I won't have to come and do it.
No.
You're
Well, I
right.
have to have that for the permit on the
You'll
inside?
have to have a building permit, yes,
Okay.
that's something totally different.
Okay, then I'll just come and talk to you some more about all that?
Yeah,
But-
we
but
really
we
would like
would-
you
yeah.
to thank you for doing this
Yeah.
because I know everyone in the neighborhood will be hugging you for doing
Yeah, I
this.
believe so also.
Right.
And I suggest thinking hard about that pink shag carpeting though.
Okay,
Yeah.
keep that in mind.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
All right, thanks for
Thank you,
being here.
guys.
Thanks.
We appreciate it.
Okay, our last action item is item number 12-1217C, request to demolish a garage and to replace with larger outbuilding at 600 Market Street. Looks like we had a whole team on this one.
I'm Donald Stupi, I'm the Grand Knight of the Knights of Columbus. These are Brother Knights Paul Herzog and Larry Balsford. We're here to get the board's approval to demolish our garage, use chicken fryer shed for safe and healthy reasons. Our chicken fryer shed is used throughout the community for St. John Car Club. They have a car club show once a year, Barzuco Down syndrome fundraiser, Parish Picnic uses it, Valley Schools uses it, 4-H for the county fair. Also, the traveling River Dogs baseball team uses it to have their chicken dinners out at the Legion Hall. So, have you got any questions?
What's the garage used for now? Is there anything in the garage, you're saying?
It's just the
So
chicken.
So that's what's already in there, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Approximately 50 years.
So you want to
Since
demolish
the
that
Knights
and
have
build
the
a
building,
new,
it
more
uses
modern
this
building
for-
to house that? Is that what we're talking about here?
Well, it's kind of a cracker box now. I mean, it's a health and safety hazard building. They'd like to put hot water to where they can wash down the walls and,
The way that it's built out on that concrete pier, you know, that, where the land falls away, can you put anything bigger on that, or you, I mean, how, are you planning to put the new garage where the old garage is, or in a different area?
Right, the plan is to extend the foundation by the drawings. We're going to extend approximately double the size of it, but the old foundation, which is still pretty substantial, we're going to pour a new floor over the top of the existing slab, so, and then that floor will carry into the addition. So it'll be one floor area, and give them more room so we can put some kitchen area in there, sanitary facilities, drains, floor drains, have it to where they can wash it down, everything's sanitary now. It's,
The discussion, though, is in two parts. One is
Yeah.
the demolition of the building, and the other is the construction of a
Exactly.
larger building.
Yeah,
And there's some, I think, some serious reasons why the building should not be demolished. It's apparently in fairly good shape, I mean, certainly repairable. And it does have the lines that complement the main structure.
yeah.
Look at the roof lines, they're the same.
Oh,
mean,
I agree.
It's obviously designed
To go with, along with.
by
yeah.
the designer of the house to be an integral part of that. Now, granted, it is not, it's like any old structure. It was designed for its day, and now these people have another use
Yeah,
for today's situation. But
that,
I
yeah.
see no reason that we should accept for tearing down a structure that is on the National Register, that is not in deplorable condition, is not a safety hazard, just because we need to get rid of it so we can put another one there.
Yeah, I agree with
And
you,
I
Frank.
think they have enough space on the property, probably to build somewhere adjacent or to it, next to it. But you're destroying something that's on the National Register when
Look
you
at-
tear that house, when you tear that garage down.
Look at the roof line, that's really quite something, that roof line on that garage is very unique.
Well, it
It's-
just complements the house, it
yeah.
goes with it. I
Yeah.
mean, they were designed together, you can see that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let me
Yeah,
ask you guys, what you're building, does it need to be in that spot? Just ask me that
Yeah.
first. I mean, is that, is there, from just the way the thing works, is that where it needs to be?
pretty much, yeah. It's very convenient to the kitchen of the.
To the main kitchen, to the
Right.
hall.
Well,
In response to to his concern there. The floor in the existing garage, as it was, has holes drilled in it. And that was, I guess, back in those days to let the rain and the snow melt and go right on through the floor. Well, and that's just the way it is today.
That's
You probably didn't see that when you were there. There was cardboard over a lot of it, to catch the dripping. The floor is very rough and beyond washing it down. The idea was to add 3 to 4 inches of concrete over the top of this. And on that level, go on over into the new addition part, to where it was all one level.
The floor
And
joists
making it-
adequate to support 3 or 4 inches of concrete?
Oh,
It's
yeah.
it's a concrete structure. It's got at least eight by 8 concrete columns and posts underneath of it. We looked at it, we talked about demolishing it, we thought it is kind of a unique design underneath of there, but it's still very substantial, so that's why we decided to just encapsulate the old floor with the new floor over it, because the old one, the floor itself is getting very rough, and if there's any kind of, the spillage or anything at all, it goes down those holes, and there's no controlling it.
Well,
No, but that's part of it, we're trying to clean it up and as the
Yeah.
hazard of it that.
I understand what you're saying, but there's two different issues. One is, it's a historic district, the building is on the National Register.
Well, it's a
Our
historic
objective is to
property,
try-
actually.
What?
Isn't it considered a historic property?
Yeah, it
It's more
is.
than just a building.
Yeah.
So
So
that,
it
and
includes that
We-
garage.
That's part of our job, is to make sure that all the old substantial buildings are not torn down. Your problem is, you need a better layout, a better design building for your purpose than what you have now. And our job is to try and figure out what we
can there
can
be a
do.
floor poured over that and then open it up with the addition on it?
Can I answer that?
Yeah.
If you pour over the floor right now, with the walls in place where they are, then you're subjecting your floor plate, your sill plate, your wall structure, to moisture. The design that you have before you shows the concrete drawings showing the raised foundation and the overlap of the washdown board, the final board put on the wall, so it overlaps the concrete. The water cannot get up to the sill plate. If we pour concrete in there as is now, we will rot the building down.
You say the holes are drilled in the floor. Were they that as a part of the original construction?
As far as we know,
Lord, we know, it's been there ever since we
That's
know.
unique.
we're all too young to answer that.
Better not say too much about that. That makes it more valuable as story.
Well, they turned it into a fryer shed over 50 years ago, and I can't remember. The guys that told us about it, most of them are gone. Merton Weiler, who spent a lot of hours in this building, designed the fryers that are in there. His son said he helped build them when he was in high school, and he's retired. So it's been there quite a while.
Is it possible to mirror the roof line from that in the building?
Well, if they try to put on the addition, I don't know, we may, maybe that's a possibility to try to mirror the roof line into the addition.
Yeah.
Just instead of what you have there, just a little bit higher roof line. I was throwing out the idea, I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm not an engineer or architect, I have no idea, just throwing it out.
That's a 12-12 pitch on the design there.
But it's certainly not your average garage. I mean, that roof comes up and then comes up and forms a little cap there in the center. I don't know what the term is for that, but
We're supposed to
My basic problem.
maintain the integrity of the building from the street. So I think that's why we're talking about the roof being
Yeah.
at the same pitch with that crown around the top. How it kind
Yeah,
of
and
comes
look at,
up.
and look at the
Because
main
that's
structure.
the same
Yeah.
roof line that's on the, is that what you mean?
Well, my basic problem is that what we have here is a request for demolition. Normally,
And that should be a
it's
separate
because of
issue.
the condition of the building, it's such that it's
Yeah.
coming down, it can't be repaired.
Yeah,
In this case, it's just, we don't want it anymore.
yeah. And that's not, according to our ordinance, that's not a valid reason for tearing down. Outbuildings can have sometimes even more significance than the big structures. You know, summer kitchens that used to abound are very rare now. So a lot of these outbuildings that, you know, we think, well, they're old, you know, build a new one, put something up that's aluminum and it'll be fine. You hate to see those go.
Guys, this is one of these issues where we're not going to make everybody happy no matter what.
No.
But a couple things to me, my 2 cents worth are, number one, I went out there and drove this thing and stood out there. And there's a building in front of this building, all right? So you can't see this, I mean, you can see the building, but there's another structure in front of it. So it's not like your eye just, I mean, I think Brenda's analysis was good, but at the same time, if you brought in 10,000 people and they all stood there, maybe 3 out of 10,000 are going to see that garage as anything more than just the thing that's behind the more modern structure, which I don't even know what that other structure is, but it's in between. The other thing is,
Now,
it's-
this one, this picture right here, there it is.
well, I know,
I
but
mean,
when you
it's
drive, when
just-
you drive,
yeah.
you see that other, what is that other
Yeah.
structure? It's
It's an
stone
outdoor
picnic
kitchen,
thing,
isn't it?
whatever it is.
Soda booth and barbecue.
Yeah, and the
Yeah.
other thing is, I mean,
Pavilion is what was the original.
yeah, the other thing to me, this, you have to treat community buildings in a little bit different manner, because in other words, it serves public good. There's a lot of chicken dinners. I was just at a dinner there Saturday night. You know, they do a great job. It's a big part of the community, what they're doing over there. So, you know, it's kind of like when the Lions had to redo their stuff. I mean, you've got a situation here where you can tell from the photos, this is very reminiscent of the Lions building, which looked also equally horrible. So it's a tough spot for the Landmarks, because we can't win either way, right?
Yeah.
But, you know, if this was someone coming in on a house and wanting to tear the garage down for their house, we'd say, no, you gotta keep the garage, because it's just for your car, and it's, you know, let's patch it up. But in this case, where they've got what is effectively a business, as far as the amount of chicken they fry up in there, I don't know as how the good of having that old garage there exceeds the good of the community to have safe and greater efficient, you know, food service. That's just my 2 cents worth, just throwing
And
it
that's
out.
our point.
I recognize your points, Frank, they're very well taken, but all of those factors were readily available to the team from Philadelphia that we paid for to survey the building and designate which of them were worthy of designation as National Register property.
Yeah.
Their analysis was, yes, this building is. And what we're
Yeah.
being asked to do is to approve the demolition of a National Register property, which is not in a structurally unsound condition.
Yeah.
It's just that it is in the way. And I personally can't
I don't think I could
go
agree
along
that.
with it unless there is no other place to put it.
Is there any way that a building could be built to serve your purposes? Because I agree with Frank, I've eaten a lot of that chicken that's come out of there, you know, myself. And you know, build that building, leave this structure alone, clean it up, repurpose it, let it be a storage area, or let it serve some other purpose for the nights?
You're saying build completely separate from it
Yeah,
and not attached to it?
yeah. That,
You're not attached to it?
well, it seems to me from your conversation that in order to do something, you're gonna have to that building, to attach to it, you're gonna have to do things that are gonna harm the building, you know, the structure. You know, if you add more concrete in there, that's gonna be detrimental to the structure. So leave the structure, clean it up, make use of it. There's, you know, there's gotta be things that you could do with that. And just put the newer facility, have it as up to date as you would like, and.
And
for it.
we wouldn't fall under the terms that you talk about then.
Yeah, well,
Under
you
the-
wouldn't have to demolish that,
No, I'm saying leave the garage there. If we built completely separate front.
If it's behind the street, like the building and the streetscape, it pretty much would be approved. No problem.
no problem.
If we can't, if people can't see it from whatever, Market Street,
Yeah.
correct?
You might be able
Well-
to see part of it.
Well, I think, you can't say that, because everybody that has one of those older outbuildings, like a summer kitchen or something, think, well, you can't see it, I might as well tear it down.
Well, like when we
But-
look at these pictures,
Mhm.
okay?
That is not the issue. The issue is both the house and the garage, as I understand, are designated as.
Yes, they
Right,
are, but they're
right.
talking about building a different structure for the out kitchen.
Yeah,
There's no
And-
problem with that.
no, that's no
And if
problem.
it is behind the building and it's not messing with the historic streetscape,
Mhm.
it's not gonna matter.
Yeah,
Well, the design should be compatible with the
Right.
other one, but that.
but I would
pitch of the
think you
roof,
would want that
I think
anyway if you're
probably what
building.
you have is compatible.
Mhm.
And so I guess what they're saying is if you build the same building to the right of this garage, it's left the garage just as a storage building or whatever use you want to do for it, would that work for you guys? I don't know how much of this building, when you get done with the cost of taking down what's there, if there really is much there you're working with anyway, or if it really matters as much.
Smaller,
Well,
unless we get into the.
we're gonna need the same square footage.
The problem is, you know, the
Just have to shift.
tearing down a building in the historic district is what the
Yeah.
huge problem is.
Yeah,
That we see with the guidelines in that book this thick that we have to follow. So,
Yeah, that's the repurposing.
I mean, would that be a possibility or not? I mean, you guys tell me, I don't know anything about construction at all.
Back to the drawing board?
How far must we be away from the garage?
6 inches. I don't, it doesn't
As
matter.
long as we're not attached.
Long as, I think
I
the
think that's
attachment is that,
We gotta
Like,
keep some-
just so that when you're standing in the front of in the middle of the street, you know how you can see the
that,
garage?
you can see that garage.
We don't want to be able to see it. That's basically what it is, so you don't see it. So it's, I think it looks like about 3 feet, quite honestly.
Do you have a picture there?
Yeah, yeah,
I'm just trying to put it in like normal words.
yeah. I was trying to,
See right here is where these pictures are? So like, just right here, I think we,
So if we started right behind that post,
Fill out this one, what you
I mean, I would have to go there to look at it,
10 feet.
but see right here,
Look at these, well,
it needs to be
look at in
behind
here,
here.
if you just started.
That's what Larry said about the pillar there.
you
Yeah.
can see through
I
there.
think if the
Go
roof
deeper.
line was the same, it would not matter.
What about like, this is
To get the area that
If it
they're
has the
talking
same-
about.
Yeah, we could,
Yeah.
we
Take
could
one
go
of those
with
metal,
a,
right? Metal one?
Is that same roof with that crown
So how far
around
would
it? You know,
Yeah, see how this little roof line is? Here, this is probably a better picture.
This one right here. See how it's, it's like a
10
roof
feet
with a
or
crown
greater,
on
or-
it.
Yeah,
water catcher.
Yeah. But if that
Yeah.
could be seen and it just had a roof line, it wouldn't matter.
Yeah, we don't want to lose the effect of the old garage door either.
Yeah.
We want to maintain that. It's
yeah.
You like that?
I like,
Yeah, that really, I'm
The
impressed
garage door
with
serves,
that.
Yeah.
serves no function for us and
Yeah.
what we want.
What we do.
And I understand that it's when
Yeah,
when we follow the
roof line.
guidelines, you have to have things that are built similar to the structure that's there. And since it's a historic property, that's why demolishing this is a problem.
Go back to the drawing board.
well, and I don't think you would want to build something that
just looked awful next to that beautiful building that you've got. I just don't see any of you choosing to do that, so I would
Yeah,
trust
right
your
there.
your
Okay,
best
you see
judgment
that?
So,
as far
but
as
if it had
that.
the same roof line, I'm pretty sure these guys would be fine. Because it's the streetscape. It's the historic look of the streetscape. And it's the whole property, the beautiful grass, the walls, it's all part of it. Does that help?
I believe there's only one flat part on the top of the KC Hall, isn't it? And then the rest of
picture
it's
back
all
here,
hill.
Larry.
Right.
Yeah, it's the same way as the garage, that's what they were talking about. See, even that's the same. It's flat in the middle, and
Yeah.
it's got that crown around
But
it.
the rest of it's hill.
Yes.
So, so you're saying if we built it over here, we need to follow that same roof structure that we have?
You wouldn't have to, if you built it, you
If
know,
it's seen, if it's
you wouldn't have to.
If it was a 12-12 pitch,
With a hip roof.
with a hip roof, 12-12 pitch. In other
If it was
words,
like right here and you had this,
Probably a better.
you know what I mean? Or even if it
Better than
went,
what we normally get in drawing. And if they need a bigger building, and
They
the
just
qualms
go
and
to
all
the
with
hip
that,
roof,
it's just that they don't
which
like
would-
to tear
which
down
would do this.
what's on the register.
Hip.
Spread box.
yeah,
I'm
that's
gonna
the
grab
kind
mine
of
back,
Go ahead.
so I,
Drawn
so
by
I'm
Brad
So it
Box.
doesn't,
If
so
you
it
needed
needs
to
to
look
peak,
at
so you don't
it.
have that
No,
flat
but we got a
roof.
thing here.
But that
that-
ground
Yeah.
is
So,
what was the same.
And that was, that's still complimentary here, you know. But
you know, if you
Well,
want
there's
to
other,
have.
there's other outstructures around the property that don't have that look, and
I
Right,
think we're gonna
right. I
come
don't-
closer,
yeah, I don't-
closer to complimentary than any of the other buildings that were built around it.
I
Yeah.
agree, I mean, you can
Yeah.
already tell
over
that.
time, yeah.
yeah.
I just didn't know if
And I
you,
think
we
that,
understood.
that's not even a real
Well, I
issue.
think-
What you build new, you know, it'd be
Okay.
nice if it complemented it, but wouldn't be necessary.
Well, maybe we should rethink it, redraw it, bring it back. But
Sorry.
we're under,
It's a hard issue
we have a
because,
window that we need to do this, and that
Oh,
would
yeah.
be right after the Lenten fish fry.
Yeah, right.
We don't have much time.
it's a hard issue
Well, I
because
mean,
it affects
this is-
everybody in town. We
And
know
if we
that.
need to have some kind of special meeting or something, we can definitely do that.
Yeah.
But I
We're
can
not
tell
gonna hold you up,
you,
we're not gonna mess your timetable up.
if you've seen the front views of it, you know, basically, we'll probably stay to the same structure, same 12-12 pitch.
Yeah.
say,
Just scoot it
We would
over.
like to go with vinyl siding and vinyl clad windows and that, and maintenance free.
Mm-hmm.
But, and understand it being separate from that.
Mm-hmm.
But we try to stay with a siding that's kind of a sand colored to complement the brick that's on the building, which what we have there now is white. But I don't know why over all the years it has been white. but-
Right, but, yeah. I personally
It
don't,
was, it was white painted
I
siding
don't
at one time.
I
think
don't
if it's a separate freestanding building, the lines should be somewhat compatible with the other
Okay.
structure.
Yeah,
The siding,
your
I wouldn't
choice.
have totally against the vinyl. I think vinyl right now is a bad economic ploy for whoever uses it because the cement siding that's out now is much more durable and less damage, or less prone to damage. But that's,
So I guess
That's
what we're
up to
saying
the
is
designer
if
for
you
the
took what you had here and just slid it over maybe 10 feet.
Not
left
even- I
that
don't even
alone.
think you need to
Well,
go that
there's a
far, but
separation
yeah.
law, she's
Yeah,
saying on
okay.
structures.
Fire code separate.
Oh,
Fire code
okay.
separation.
yeah.
In other words, if you just took
What
what
is the
exactly what you
fire
have
code?
here and slid it over a little bit,
Pardon?
probably is fine.
10 feet, Well, I don't know.
Fire code 10 feet?
Yes, you have to figure out the exact distance. I mean, it can't just be a couple inches, it would have to be fire
Yeah,
distance.
but, you know, there's a storage area in the back, so all of a sudden, we're sliding over, but then we're bumping into that structure that sticks out the back, so we're gonna have to, we'll have to,
I would say
talk
if
to
you
Brenda
could
and look
just
at the code.
look into that, if that fits, we could do like a special meeting
Yeah,
And you can
absolutely.
get going
Whenever,
almost immediately.
yeah.
To the rear of the property instead of sideways.
If you wanted to come back
Yeah.
the end of this week, I think.
Yeah, we
you know,
would
please
happy
come
to
back.
accommodate you any which way that you want to do.
Yeah,
Okay.
probably so.
And you pick up a free storage building in the mix or something.
We'll rework it.
It's workable.
Okay, well, we're happy to meet you whenever you're ready, just holler and we will throw a meeting together.
Okay.
But do give us at least 24 hours.
Just give us
Yeah,
24 hours
24
notice and we will meet.
4 of us have to be
You always
here.
want 24 hours notice.
That's the law.
Well, we have to post the notice.
Yeah.
And again, we're not trying to cause you guys any problems, trying to do our jobs and
Right,
keep everybody
right.
happy as best we can.
Understood.
We appreciate your time.
Okay, we'll see you
And we
here in
will
a
all
few
be
days or so.
eating chicken out of that new structure. Trust me, we will all be there eating chicken when the new structure.
Well, we hope we're
Well, yeah,
there
you can help
too,
pay it off.
Yeah.
Because we need to be in
They're glad you have to
compliance,
come and eat
we need
fish.
to be in compliance health-wise. And,
Yeah, we understand,
need
that.
to
That's
get
why
there
we'll,
quick.
yeah,
Yeah.
we're happy to meet as soon as you're ready. We will run up here and meet.
All right.
okay.
Do it.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks a lot,
you.
everybody. Okay, next on the agenda is discussions. First item is the future of committees. And, you know, we kind of discussed where we were, I guess, a meeting ago or so, on where we were on the various topics and things that were handed down from the meeting with the joint meeting with the aldermen. And the one committee we definitely know that we need to continue on with and complete is the marketing and the communications committee. We know that.
Yeah.
I wanted to thank you, like, I think having a competition that the result happened fairly quickly helped get my kids in gear.
Oh, good. Thank you. Thanks, Mr.
Thank
Hoffman.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I guess the question is, what other committees do we need, and what would the purpose of those other committees be after our last meeting?
We've pretty well determined what the boundaries are, haven't we?
Yeah, I feel like
So-
we got the boundaries pretty much just figured out as we're gonna be able to figure them, and I think on.
Are we still have a nomination that's hanging up
That-
in
yeah.
midair?
Yeah,
And I think, well, it's not our decision, it's the city government's decision whether they want to pursue that nomination. It's an improvement over what we have now.
Right,
It's more
right.
inclusive. I think the one big holdup was one particular building that one very influential author and historian didn't agree with one entry in the nomination. I think that's something that could be worked out.
okay.
But
So do,
it's hanging in midair. I mean,
Yeah.
that nomination was created, I think, in about 1884 or something like that, or 86 probably, it was developed. And it's been laying in desks and arguments ever since.
so do we need to wait for the city to tell us that they want us to finish the nomination?
Probably not, because they approved the submittal of it at one time. And I would suspect that approval still holds.
Okay.
But as far as having a committee to go over the boundaries, are we all good on where we are with that? Okay. All right. Are there any other committees we think we need to?
Well, I think we need a committee that will look into the nomination
Okay.
and getting that finished, you know, contacting, is it Rachel Weekly that we need to talk to?
Yeah, and I've already been talking to her about it,
Okay,
and possible avenues to approach that, to move forward and leave that property outside of the district, and she thinks that might be a good way to go.
okay. I don't know enough about the nomination to know what structure you're talking about, but I'd like to get into it and find out.
So what should we call that committee? Is it the nomination committee or what
And
It was
Yeah.
the first-
boundary
Yeah.
nomination committee?
It was a National Historic Landmark.
Okay,
National
National
Historic
Historic
Yeah,
Landmark,
it's redrawing that district.
okay. Is there another committee anyone would like to see or thinks we need to do?
This is other than marketing and communication, right?
Right.
I think Jamie did an excellent job in giving us, resources and, all the research that you did and getting all of those examples. I don't know if we need a continuation of that or just maybe being aware of new products that come out and
Oh,
so that people,
I was just trying to find other things out there. I mean, people can find that stuff on their own, but I just was trying
But
to.
it's nice to be able to say, look, we looked at this, and this is what you might want to consider using. That's very helpful to do that. So I don't know that we need to
I
keep
don't know
it
if
as
we need a committee
a
of that, or if we
committee
just
or
need to all be
all be aware
or at
of.
Home Depot, be looking at the stuff. You know?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think just stay diligent. I mean, I don't think it needs to be a committee.
yeah.
I mean,
Okay,
I
so are we
learned a
happy
lot.
with just the
Yeah.
National Historic Nomination Committee and the Marketing and Communication Committee, those two committees? Does that sound good to everybody? I myself have had no feedback after our meeting, that we talked about this last time. Not one individual has approached me with any problem with any of those items unless you have, so otherwise, that's kind of where we ended from last time.
Yeah.
What committee is signage and designation of
That is the
historic
Marketing and
structures on?
Communications
That-
Committee,
Okay,
yeah.
that one really needs to keep going because.
Well, it does.
Yeah.
It does,
That's
definitely.
good work and so
Yeah.
far, but I still think we need something so that we try to build some pride in the owners
Yeah.
of
That would be that
this property.
committee,
Yeah.
and
That-
by the next meeting, I'll drop a whole thing.
Well, that,
on it.
Yeah.
that design, I was thinking of that design that Teresa came up with is, I just feel like it looks a little nicer and it's still got an older look to it. It has the fleur-de-lis on it. If we could have something instead of those wooden routed out
Oh,
boards.
those were
So are
done,
you talking about the?
Those were done
yeah.
more than 30 years ago.
Oh,
The
because
more
it
signage I
than
was-
thought Frank
that,
was
they
talking
were
about
talking
was, in
about-
other
no.
words, I would like to see a program where we have, like the people who were here tonight, number one, we send them thank you notes on our own stationery saying, thanks for being here. And then as they do their projects, we have signs we move around from project to project.
Well, I
saying,
do think
"This is
that's a
another
good idea,
landmark
but I
approved."
thought we were talking
You know
about
those-
some that just go on the houses.
Yeah.
Like-
They've
I
got
think that way, it's
2x4s
way beyond
that
our
are-
scope, but that's the sign
Yeah,
committee, I
and we
think.
do have a sign committee authorized by the Board of Aldermen that's looking into that.
Okay.
Trying to
Okay.
come
Yeah,
up
that
with a
exists.
way
It's a
to
different committee.
provide incentives to citizens to put up uniform signage on the.
Yeah, I
historic
just thought
homes.
that one would be nice because it would tie in with the landmarks and historic
Well,
preservation.
the design, we hadn't really even talked about.
Yeah, well, that's
Yeah, it's
that's
a
all.
huge project. I mean,
Yeah.
there's way more of those than you think, and then they have to get permission from every single person. It's very complicated.
If you're talking about putting signage on National Register buildings, why not just use the National Register sign?
That's, seems like an easy thing
You
to
can, the
do.
only drawback to that is it's $500 to $1,000 per sign.
$80.
$80?
Unless you want your own name.
Okay, I
But
mean,
say
we
that-
quoted
Yeah,
our
we-
house, and it was 1,000,
One's-
so I,
Yeah, it's custom type.
right.
Yeah, it's a
Mine
kind of a-
says, this property is registered, is listed on the National Register of the Historic Landmarks.
Oh, I'm talking about the one that actually tells the story.
Yeah, that's.
Oh, my,
Oh,
no.
that's,
That's, on the sign committee, we're trying to do the story of the property.
Yeah.
Oh,
I was talking about what Brenda was talking about.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying now.
Thinking about QR codes maybe, so they can.
Yeah.
Put it, you know,
That's a whole different, all sorts of,
Yeah.
whole different program.
oh, okay. What I was talking about was one strictly for St. John.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You know, like something that tied all those. I guess the National Historic one would be fine. I didn't,
Well, that's what they're
Yeah.
working on, the sign committee,
yeah.
is that
Okay.
very project.
Yeah, I didn't
Yeah,
realize
well, I
that
think
was.
if the sign committee is there, I think we would just be, doing the same job twice, so.
Yeah,
There's a
That's-
precedent for that.
Yeah.
that's for sure.
I just didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of why I come to meetings.
Yep.
Okay, next is the guidelines for administrative review for the certificate of appropriatenesses.
I just didn't get enough clarification on that last time, so.
Okay. Well, let's give her more clarification.
Well, let's revisit what we what we all thought we agreed on.
Okay. Go ahead.
Well, I think everybody has some memory of it to contribute. My thinking is that the city planning and zoning officer and coordinator of landmarks committee should have the ability to approve minor, I don't know how you define minor, whether it's cost of materials or physical appearance or what, but I think there are things that are being brought to this commission that are more mundane than they, you know, we give them more gravity than they deserve.
Okay.
You know, we got here because a board member disagreed with where that line was drawn. And there was a frustration over trying to define it.
Yeah, yeah.
So kind of the decision at the time was, let's just look at everything, instead of trying to figure out what can be administrative.
I
and
remember
what
that meeting,
can't.
yep.
Well, I totally agree with you. I think
Well, I
that
thought
the
there
devil
was-
here is in defining what the authority is.
What, yeah.
Whenever
Yeah.
we talked about it, I thought there was a dollar amount that somebody had come up with. I don't know
There
why,
is-
but
there
it's
is one in
between
the
4,000 or
ordinance.
There is a
5,000.
dollar amount in the guidelines
And it was,
that says any project over that amount goes in front of us. I think that figure probably should be.
that's the
Yeah.
figure, wasn't it between?
That's why I'm questioning.
Because she said she could never find that dollar figure.
Oh, I've seen it too. I know, I read that.
Was it
It's right on
4,000?
the last sentence on the page, and I don't remember what page
Well, and
number it
I
was.
read that whole freaking book, there's so much in there.
But the
got it
other,
in what?
the
I know
other
it's in
way
there.
that, it can be changed, or not changed, but interpreted is by class of work. Maintenance, we don't need to see maintenance. Maintenance should be up to the professional staff.
Well, I guess, what, do we need to define what is maintenance?
Yes, because that was exactly the issue that led to the original discussion.
But the difference between maintenance and repair is always a hard one to draw. New construction, not too difficult, but
So like replacing all the vinyl?
Replacing a roof in kind is maintenance. I mean, if they have a shingle roof and you're putting another shingle roof on it because the old one failed, that's maintenance. If you've got a standing seam roof and you want to put shingles on it, that's repair, that's different.
Yeah.
That we probably need to look at that.
Well, so
But
if-
certainly, just replacing a roof because it's leaking with the same type of a roof is maintenance, and we
Well,
don't need
wouldn't
to see it.
anything like fascia
Painting,
soffit,
we don't need to
whatever,
see.
that's the same kind that was there, wouldn't that be maintenance?
What?
Like if it was, remember when Mr. Beckerman had come and they were replacing the fascia and the soffit?
Was no,
Was that-
he was goofing up the whole lines and the
Well, I'm
structure of
just-
the
Yeah.
building.
But that was changed.
If you had a rotted
But if one piece
soffit,
of
you
it
were
was
gonna
rotted,
replace it with wood.
if it's the like
Yeah.
Wood for
material,
wood.
wood
If
for
it's a
wood,
like
then that's,
material and
yeah,
he's gonna
then
put
that's
it
just
back the
maintenance.
same, it's maintenance.
Yeah.
But if you replace a 1x4 soffit with a 1x6 or vice versa, that's different. Because now
Right.
you're changing the appearance.
Right,
of the
so if
building.
it's like materials for what's there, then.
Here's the $5,000. And it's, section F on page 22 of the ordinance. Limitation on use of certificate of no historic significance. Notwithstanding any other provision of this chapter to the contrary, all improvements of maintenance to property within the historic district costing in excess of $5,000, regardless of the prior issuance of certificate of historic significance, shall be subject to commission review for a certificate of appropriateness.
And
And
that's for those who are non-significant only.
Who,
So
yeah.
anything that costs less than $5,000 doesn't require a certificate?
No, no, it
It's
doesn't
not
say
saying
that.
no.
It's
Doesn't need to
saying,
come
no
before
matter
us.
if we have designated a structure as no historic significance, if they spend more than in excess of $5,000, it needs to come to the commission for review.
I remember that now. That was that house on Market Street.
That's- so that's
And
not
they
giving
replaced it and it was
the
$6,000 and
administrator
that's
a
how the
dollar
issue came
figure.
up.
No.
That's not the issue we're talking
Yeah,
about here.
yeah, but that's where the money amount, it
Yeah.
has come up.
It brings us into play on a lot more items than we really want to be on. Because I think, well, those guidelines are
section
probably 10 years old. and
410.370,
$5,000
section
doesn't
F.
go as far today as it did then.
Those guidelines are less than 4 years old.
What?
They're less than 4 years old.
Not to work on them.
Completely redone.
That was done here by a lawyer, not by the company.
That's what we're talking about, the ordinance.
This is the
Sullivan-
ordinance.
Sullivan Company did those in 2008 or 2007.
That is the ordinance?
Yeah, that's not
That's
the
the
guideline.
ordinance I was reading from, not the guidelines, but the
Okay.
ordinance. And this is
I stand corrected.
2007. First reading, August 23rd, 2007, second, October the 11th, 2007, and approved.
But
in-
what you're talking about there, though, is not exactly what we need to be looking at, because all that's addressing is the historic significance question.
Well, they're saying if you have gone to the trouble of getting your house deemed no historic significance, getting that certificate, if you are gonna do more than $5,000
Right.
worth of work to it, then
Right.
it still needs to come to
Right.
us.
All I mean by this is that
Right.
I don't think there's a simple answer. I think there's
Yeah.
punch list guidelines, and that's one of them.
Mhm.
Another one is changing a 1x4 soffit for a 1x4 soffit. No question. Changing a 1x6 soffit to a 1x4 soffit, question.
Yeah.
So, I think you have to maybe make a 6-point bullet chart or something that does it fit into these qualifications, then it doesn't need to go to the commission. If it violates any one of those that we hammer out, then it goes to the commission. I mean, do you want to try and figure out what all those angles are? I don't think we should vote on it without a full commission, but if we can get some of these parameters,
That'd be good.
brainstormed.
Yeah.
Is that what you're
Does,
looking
like,
for?
for instance,
Is that what you're looking for on that point? In other words, so maybe by the next meeting, we come up
Something a
with a
little more
different.
black and white.
right.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
for instance,
yeah.
one of the line items should be, does the project alter the facade?
Right,
Right.
Simple question.
right.
If it doesn't, move on. Next bullet.
Yeah.
Is it over $5,000 or, so what other parameters do we need to talk about?
Okay.
Okay, well, why don't we all think of different points for next meeting, and then next meeting we'll revisit this and
Just create a matrix.
we'll just hatch it out there and that'll be the time. Sound good, everybody? Okay. Next up to bat was citizen input, but I see no citizens in the audience other than our friendly recorder, so I'm not sure we have any citizen input.
He gave up
tonight.
his citizenship when he became one.
Okay. Other business is scheduling a work session for demolition review.
After Christmas,
After Christmas, that would be better.
January.
Now, this is to review the demolition provisions of the ordinance
Yeah.
guidelines? Is that what you're saying? What does this mean?
To create guidelines and criteria in which to judge a demolition.
Oh, okay.
Why don't we consider that the same? Maybe have a separate meeting just to discuss these two questions together.
I think it's great.
That's a good idea, yeah.
We could
We
do
could
it.
call that a retreat.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Could we do that that first week before I go back to school?
Fine with me.
The second, third, fourth, something like that?
It's okay by me.
I'll be gone 3 of the 4 weeks of January approximately, so I probably will not be here. I'll warn you that in advance.
Well, we can do the brainstorming and wait for you to,
That's fine, or
Yeah.
if y'all have a quorum, just go on without me. It's okay.
You can watch this on video cast, right?
There you go.
Yeah. And you're welcome to use the Kielschwein house. if we have no resident pests in there. We have squirrels.
Maybe that's what we need is the next committee, squirrel eradication.
Eradication, yes. Let's put that on somebody's agenda.
I'm volunteering.
Yes.
I want to be on that committee.
There's some
Yeah.
people here who know about squirrels.
Squirrels,
Oh my
yes.
In the attic.
Yes.
What do you want to meet during the week, during the day, at night?
Weekends
don't-
are not good for me. Weekends are not good, that's good for me. January.
How is Wednesday, January the 2nd? That's a Wednesday. Is that your better day, or is
Thursday would be better.
Thursday is better? How's January 3rd with everyone?
Love it.
Third's better than the second. The second, I've got something going, I'm trying to remember what it is. Just sober it up.
By the 3rd, Shirley George. You can make it by the 3rd.
Brenda, can you send out an email to that?
Just do
Effect?
not have a party in lifestyle.
Pardon?
January 3rd,
Yes.
what time?
That'd be a third, did it?
10 o'clock?
It's a Thursday. Want to do it 10 o'clock? We're so
Sounds good.
agreeable.
10 o'clock? Want to meet at the Kill House or what?
No.
Where?
Think not? I mean, do you think, that creature?
Well, we could, I
Yeah.
guess, but
Yeah.
we've had some serious damage.
You're welcome also to come to my house. That would be fine, too.
Squirrel damage. But serious.
Yeah, but,
Really?
yeah, we're going,
Yeah. And if not, you can come to my house if you don't mind stepping over toys.
no, I don't have,
Just pick up the
I
Lego.
won't have toys there. Yeah,
Keep your shoes on.
yeah.
Okay, is there any other business? If not, then,
Yes.
okay.
I was approached by a woman who is, what do you call it?
Somehow challenged?
No, I am somehow challenged. This woman was not. She graduated from Shady Grove School. And what would you call her?
Alumni.
An alumna, yeah.
Yeah.
And they, and she and her other class members would like to have Shady Grove School preserved.
Where's this at?
That was my question, because I am not from this area.
It's an old stellar
Um,
place.
Is that Washington Street?
I believe it's in the
That's
county
first school.
somewhere.
That's first.
Yeah, but has
that's-
it always been called that?
I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah.
I read about Shady Grove School like 2 months ago for the Herald.
Mhm.
It's on M Road just past Easy.
Past
Okay.
Easy?
Oh,
Easy Road.
GISI.
Okay.
You know when you're going
Yeah.
to 55
On
on
the
Cape,
right
it's
hand
that,
side.
right before that
Yeah.
big drop off.
Uh-huh.
Not
Yeah.
bad.
So it is off of Emerald.
So- so-
Leslie Barker and
This little
and
frame
I kind
building,
of went
right?
out
I
Mhm.
there.
know
You can see
exactly
the-
what you're talking about.
Yeah,
It totally looks like a school.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we did exactly what it
Yeah.
is.
it would be a great thing to preserve it.
My question was, I know it's outside, you know.
And
in
who
the
owns
county.
it?
Dottie Anagag owns it.
Yeah.
But I was wondering if anyone would want to assist in getting information on it. Brian, you apparently are a good source of information on, since you've written. Since I didn't even know where it was, I didn't know where to start, so I thought I'd ask my
That article's still online.
preservationist.
We've got it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I don't know if it's still online, Jon.
Okay, we can stop by it.
Yeah.
But-
I remember reading it.
I remember
I remember the
reading it,
article.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I talked to the current owner, Ms. Deck, and interviewed Wilson and Shady Grove. The only consideration with regard to the schoolhouse and its historical, it's my understanding from Ms. Deck that the interior has been significantly changed and that she and her family have altered it inside for storage purposes like that. And I'm not an expert like you guys, I believe it is if it were still very much structurally sound building, you know, the paint is on, things like that. But, I mean, it's almost on the street, it's so close. I mean,
Yeah.
it's, the setback is only about 15 feet.
Yeah.
Is it right off of Emerald?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So you
You
can
drive
see
out
from-
right
You
up
drive
on
by
it,
it
it's right there on the
sometimes.
right.
Okay, I
The-
think
right
that's
on
where
the-
we're
right
stopping.
on the
I think
right.
Yeah,
that's
on that
down
crest of the hill.
Yeah.
Isn't there like sunflowers planted next to it in the summertime? Seems like that's what I remember being, something tall planted next to it. It seems like that needs to be a conversation between the people that want to do the restoration and the owner. Because no matter what plans you make, if the owner says, no, it's our building and we want to continue.
Well, from what I understand, they kind of had that discussion at the last reunion, but they didn't know how to organize to do that.
Oh.
But the owner apparently does have the list of the living,
Okay.
and the addresses and everything. But my first step was, where is this building? And, see what's.
And the fact that
It's definitely outside of our scope, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's outside the city limits, so it's
Right.
changes everything.
But even though it's
Call me
outside
someday and we'll
city
drive out
limits,
there
it's
and-
St. John County, and I know that there's a lot of stories
Yeah,
in them counties.
yeah.
Is she asking to actually do work on the house, or just to have it protected?
To protect it, to save it, to have some kind of avenue, and what that was, she had no clue what she was asking for. She just knew they didn't.
They didn't want it gone, yeah. Okay.
Any other business? Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned.